Well, not the most sophisticated lyric.
No,
I've
and
ever
you know
heard.
why he's lonely if he's got that bloke in the background.
I don't mind the gonk in the background.
Don't you?
You know, it's perfectly fine, but what are kids listening to these days?
Well, it knocked Tony Christie from his 7 weeks on the #1 slot.
Let's ask an expert about all things modern and musical. Armando Ianucci, what are the kids listening to these days, Armando? who else to ask?
I don't understand. What happened to the birds?
Oh, the birds look bad, weren't they?
The faces and all.
Yeah, they're still knocking around here on radio too, I believe. How are you, Armando? You look
I'm very well. I've got a horrendous cough, so which would be very unprofessional if I exercised. This
Although,
morning,
obviously,
but,
now we're all quite intrigued. That's a bit like teasing us.
Shall I save that?
Well, I wouldn't mind a little bit of a cough later on.
No.
That's not big enough.
Not
Come
bad.
on. You've given it the big build-up now.
I know. I can give this mic full phlegm in about if you let me build up.
Our promise to you, the home listener, we'll end the interview with one of the biggest coughs you've heard this year on radio. All right?
Can I do it instead of the pips?
Yeah.
Can I just do 5 of them and then a big 6th one?
Phlegmy, big old cough going out at you.
Just thonking the mic.
Armando has one of the most glittering and, it's a hard career to fault. One of the best careers in British comedy, really. I don't think you've put a foot wrong, have you?
Have I? I don't know.
Well, is there a show
I may be about to.
Is there? Oh, Armando, you see, we can go off people. Is there a show that you feel wasn't as good as you could have made it, that you didn't really give it
well, if you want to be deeply honest, and, there's no jokes in this, what I'm about to say, but I sort of felt... I don't know, I was just... At the end of the second series of I'm Alan Partridge, I thought, that was a bit mad.
Yeah, but you know what? That got given quite a rough ride when it came out, mainly because of the laugh track that everyone assumed you put on it, which wasn't a laugh track, was it?
Actually, I can now reveal it was just me, multi-track,
laughing at your own jokes.
Yeah.
You and Steve Coogan laughing at your own work.
I know, it's terrible, isn't it? Gone to seed.
I've watched it back. I mean, not as a whole block, but I've caught it because it always seems to be repeated on one of the many satellite channels we have.
For which you get a cheque for 50p once every 4 years.
And you look after the 50p's. But I watch it, and I think it was it was fantastic. It was. I mean, the only thing I didn't like so many of the flashbacks that seemed to be going on a little too often, perhaps. And there were flash forwards it was him stuffing his face with bounty bars and panicking.
Yes. That was his trip to Dundee.
But the show was fabulous. Yeah. I want you to make more Partridges, and in fact, that's one of the reasons why we have you here today. Is we have Steve Coogan coming as well. We're going to post armed guards on the door, and you're not allowed to make any other shows for a while. All right?
That would be terrible.
But we miss him.
I don't know, but you can always play it again.
Yeah, but it's not the same. We want new stuff. Amanda, are you going to do any more?
I just sort of feel I'm bored of the character.
Yeah, well, it's not all about you.
I know.
Right? And it's not all about Steve. It's about us. We're the people out here, okay? We the people. Is this not a democracy?
I could hire people in, I suppose.
Yeah, get some lesser men in to write it for you.
Some 16-year-olds. There's a sort of junior researcher who turned up earlier today.
There you go. And just buff it a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it can't be hard to do. Hello, I'm Alan Partridge. Aha! Yeah, that's the opening.
It's fantastic.
That's the opening of new episode 1. By the end of the show, let's knock a new one together.
And he lives in a tree house.
I'm in my tree house. Aha! With the birds. Here you go. Look, if Mr. Bean can do it, why can't you?
Should I just cough? Should I just keep
No, don't cough. But joking aside, and that very nearly was a joke, we do miss that kind of thing, and I'm assuming there is a certain pressure from outside forces to say, well, why don't you do more of these? Which you just
yes, and there's talk of a film and stuff like that, but I don't know. I personally just like to just keep moving on.
Yeah, well, it was it was a fabulous creation. It really was.
Yeah, so we could come up with another character who's just got another bird title
and just says keep moving on.
Just
David Pheasant.
That's right. He's completely different. He's from Nantwich.
Yeah. Well, it was a fantastic achievement. I mean, the show, it's one of those shows that's going to stick around forever, I think.
Hopefully, yeah.
The limited way that we would go forever.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I have no bad memories of it. I just have this thing about. Oh, that's probably enough.
It's fair enough. You've got to move on.
Yeah.
The new thing sounds very good as well, though. I'm very much looking forward to this. It's called The Thick of It.
Yeah.
And it's starting on BBC 4.
Yes.
Which is a kind of interesting thing. Presumably that means that it's of a certain flavour, a certain type of show that wouldn't immediately work for the mainstream.
It's a bit of a silent ghetto, BBC 4.
Yeah, but it's a great place. I mean, when you find it, wow.
And this is one of the first big comedies, and it's a comedy set in Westminster,
right?
Set in a fictional department called the Ministry for Social Affairs. Although we were nearly trumped last week by the cabinet reshuffle because Blair suddenly came up with all sorts of ministries like the Department for the Ministry for Industry, Development and Energy, and then they had to change the title back because they realised that was dippy. And they'd gone to all the trouble of putting plaques up and everything. And
I was trying to work out what the acronym was. I thought it was Minge for a minute, and I was really concerned. You'd think if you were Prime Minister, you'd have a few jokes like that, wouldn't you? You're going to now work in, well, we could come up with many, I'm sure. But Ministry of is it Social Affairs? It sounds real. I mean, obviously that's why you done it. But
and I had lots of lunches and discreet drinks paid by the licence payer with ex-advisors and ministers and so on to actually find out what it's really like.
Actual parliamentary figures.
Parliamentary figures.
Can you name any of them?
No. Well, our main advisor is a guy, Martin Sixsmith, who used to be the sort of press
Martin
secretary.
Sixsmith?
Martin Sixsmith.
Oh,
He used to be a reporter, actually.
Okay.
And he'd always end his report with a nice little lilt on his name. He'd go, "This is Martin Sixsmith." BBC News.
You're someone, I think, who listens very much to the rhythms of language. Probably more than anyone else.
To the rhythm of reporters' surnames.
How does Andrew Marr sign off?
Oh no, he's gone now, isn't he? He's standing down.
Oh, that's what I think he'll wind up with a talk show. His career's on that kind of trajectory.
Do you think so?
Yeah, definitely.
Little Radio 2 sort of afternoon kind of thing.
He's going the Jeremy Vine path.
Do you think so?
Yeah, that's what he's doing. And it's a lovely path, apparently. So the new show, The Thick of It, it's essentially, obviously, it's going to get compared to Yes Minister because we haven't had a solid political sitcom.
Yeah, it's Yes Minister with lots of swearing. It's Yes Minister meets Goodfellas.
So it's a more realistic.
It's very, very realistic.
Although Yes Minister was a fabulous series.
Oh, it is great. It's great. But that was all about a minister and his civil servants, and this is all about now a minister and his advisors. And
so it's more about the kind of bureaucratic entanglements within Parliament rather than...
but also their obsession with the media and how things are going to play the next day and, what the line is to take when you're on the radio.
So really, it's the kind of sitcom that couldn't have been written before now, because really this is very much a modern development in party politics.
Yeah, in about the last 8 years.
Do you think it's for the worse, or do you think it was inevitable that the politics would head that way?
Well, I think as soon as Thatcher signed the Satchies, it kind of indicated that they were into all the sort of notions of branding and stuff like that.
Which is what's really driven American politics, though, since the late 40s.
This is getting very serious.
No, we can lighten up in a minute. Okay, let's go this way.
I was on Radio 4.
Oh, please don't ever brand. I bet they don't advertise themselves constantly, saying how great they are. Have you heard What's going on with this?
So that was you and Terry Wogan together, was
Apparently so, but not really.
It was like that Blair Brown party. You were in separate rooms.
One was in each other.
One was in LA.
Hey, it's not a
like
bad
Sinatra and Bono.
Because obviously I'm hoping he'll, move out soon so I can try and get the Plum Street. It's the same thing, isn't it? With the Blair and Brown on Radio 2. Hey, did you see? I'm sure you're, a regular reader of Heat magazine.
Oh yeah, I have it taped to my lavatory wall.
How else are you going to know who's got cellulite at the moment? Eh? But did you see? I think last week or the week before, they have an odd feature. Well, all their features are rather odd, but they have a feature. Torso of the Week.
Oh yeah, the Blair.
It was Tony Blair.
The Blair six-pack.
Looking pretty good.
Yeah. That wasn't photoshopped.
I don't know. I mean, if it was photoshopped, it was a good job. But I imagine they wouldn't Photoshop it.
But I just wonder, where does he get the time? Shouldn't he be running the country?
I'm imagining it takes so much energy, he's just burning off all the calories.
Do you think so?
And we know he sweats.
Oh, yeah.
He could sweat for England.
Like a big pig.
Yeah, but are you not a fan?
Jack Straw, by the way, swears like a docker, apparently.
Does he really?
Yeah.
Jack Straw. It always sounds like
that's what my friends in Whitehall tell me.
Jack Straw, that's a good name for a donkey from a fairy tale, isn't it? I've often thought he'd make a lovely donkey.
Eat all the Jack Straw.
Maybe we could send him a little hat with a couple of holes cut in it. See if he likes it. Let's talk some more about The Thick of It after this. Armando, hey, what are you doing?
What? You said after this?
Well, yeah, but I was going to chat some... Oh, never mind, put it on. What's this? Who is this?
Supergrass.
All right. It's Roxy music in their later, some would say blander phase, but I like the polished subtlety and smoothness of Ferry's later work.
Very posh, Brian Ferry. Well, I mean, we know...
Well, he's not... You know what? He's nouveau posh, because he was in a band called Gasworks. I think his dad was a miner in Newcastle.
Right.
Or near Newcastle.
Well,
I don't have many mines in Newcastle.
We got him in to do a Partridge comic relief thing about 4 years ago, broadcasting from... And Brian Ferry was the guest, and he felt very landed.
Yeah. I think he's become a landed gentry.
Right.
Because his son, Otis, of course, is out there championing the killing and skinning of small furry animals.
Yes.
Hey, and good luck to him. Yeah. That's what rings your bell. Who are we to say otherwise?
That's what skins you, yeah.
You ever been on a fox hunt, Armando?
No.
Would you go if invited? If they said...
Was that on your list of questions?
Yeah, that was number one.
Must ask them about fox hunting.
I wanted to settle you first.
Yeah.
And I was just curious whether
I have been scared to death by a pack of hounds while shivering and emptying my bowels in a bush.
You'd make a good little fox, a little cartoon fox for Disney.
So, yeah.
I'd like to see that.
What, the voice or the actual features?
You've got the face of a fox.
and sort of celebrity riders. Then,
that's a good idea. For a show. 5 will be on the phone immediately afterwards.
The fox hunters,
celebrity fox hunting. Abby Titmus in a bush. David Williams bearing down on her with a horn. Hey, I think that's happened, hasn't it? None of us are proud of that last joke. We're all going to ignore that.
I'm moving on.
Yeah. Armando Ianucci has a new show starting on BBC 4. You can find it if you have a free view box. Just experiment one night. Don't stick to the first 5 on the list. Keep looking. You'll find some great stuff out there.
It's just beyond Bid TV.
Okay. Bid Up TV. That's a great show.
Yeah. Oh, it's changed its name to Bid TV.
It's just Bid now.
It's just Bid.
The Bid Up was a bit too much for the audience to handle.
Too racy.
Yeah, 2 syllables. No need for that. But BBC 4 has a new series starting on this Thursday night, I believe. Is it this Thursday?
This Thursday, The Thick of It.
At 10:30 p.m, The Thick of It. It's starring Chris Langham, who's fantastic at the moment with Paul Whitehouse in that sort of therapy show. Peter Capaldi, also a wonderful actor.
Yeah, very frightening. Not in real life, but in the show he's very
And Chris Addison, who's I'm not so familiar with.
He's a young comic.
Okay.
And this was his first acting role. He plays a junior researcher.
Good luck to him. Now, Peter Capaldi is made many fun. I've seen him in lots of British movies and stuff. Who does he play in the show?
He plays a guy called Malcolm Tucker, who's the sort of amalgam of all the Campbell, Mandelson, Control.
Those slightly unctuous, slimy, slightly aggressive men who get angry if anyone says that everything the PM's doing isn't marvellous.
Yes, and the sort of people who are described as people who have balls that clank. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Very, very male kind of...
Well, I've heard Anne Widdecombe described like that. And she's... but you've met some of these people, presumably, who you're talking about.
I've met some of them. Yes, I met Alistair Campbell. It was the summer before the '97 election, before Labour got in, and a call came through saying that Tony Blair wanted to be interviewed by Alan Partridge.
Wow!
And so we went up to the Labour conference. Steve and I, we flew up. We wrote a little 10-minute kind of dialogue thing, but it all had to go through Campbell beforehand, and every joke had to be vetted. And then the frightening thing was that Blair learned it word perfectly in 10 minutes. Just went out and did it like a trooper.
It's quite telling.
That was that's when I suddenly became very frightened.
Was this recorded for something? What was this?
I think it was recorded for internal use only.
Now, can I ask you about your politics then? Are you a Labour voter? Are you a Labour supporter?
I'm a sort of woolly liberal.
Right.
I'm a woolly liberal.
Does that mean you vote for the woolly Lib Dems then?
I voted Lib Dem this election, yes.
So previously, when you were doing this, when you went up and interviewed Blair, presumably you were doing this because you were in the Labour camp, were you?
I was, for 97, yes.
So you were supporting them at that stage?
Yeah.
And you've now bit the hand that was feeding you back
I've gone so off.
Like an angry fox.
So off. New Labour was so the 90s.
That's interesting that you switched like that.
Yeah.
And now, does that colour your work to an extent?
Yes, it does. It's a sort of, I've kind of... I kind of like to stay detached from all political parties anyway. But the last 7 or 8 years, especially the whole thing about Iraq, did get me so angry. But I felt, just being angry was a bit dull. So I've kind of injected
So you lodged
a
protest vote. Would you have wanted to have Charles Kennedy leading the country, though?
That might have been quite weird.
Well, that would have more than just weird. Wouldn't that have troubled you somewhat? I mean, God bless him. He's a lovely man, big Bowie fan.
Yes,
which is a mark in his favour as far as I'm concerned.
But knowing that he can be affected so badly by lack of sleep, you don't need to make that sign.
With the babies, he's up all night.
Yeah.
Helping.
That's a milk bottle sign.
Feeding the baby the bottle. Apparently, 3 bottles a night the baby can get through. No wonder he's so tired. We've all been there.
Yes. So that's frightening.
And the Tories, do you think they have any chance ever in the future of being a political force in this country?
I'm amazed they weren't more depressed than they should be, because they actually didn't increase their vote at all.
But I suppose the fact that they didn't decrease having Michael Howard in charge, they were
major victory,
punching the air with joy.
And they've got rid of him now.
It was quite I thought it was quite a nice election. It was quite a kind of lovely kind of like, almost pastoral election. It felt kind of old-fashioned and sweet.
Slightly romantic.
Yeah, it was. It was quite nice.
It was a new romantic election.
Well, when I turned up to vote in the Golders Green area where I am, Finchley Golders Green, I think it is, and there were 3 old ladies sitting outside with different colour rosettes on. I thought, this could be... This is like from a Will Hayes cast comedy,
It was an Ealing election.
It was an Ealing election. Isn't that lovely? All right, let's have a bit more music and we'll chat some after this. What are we going to play now, Andy?
The Ravenettes.
The Ravenettes, what a great band. That was the Ronettes, wasn't it?
No, but I think...
you said the Ravenettes.
The Ravenettes. It was the Ravenettes.
Was it? But the Ravenettes, there's a new band called the Ravenettes.
That is the Ravenettes. That is a new band.
It's confusing.
It's called Ode to LA, so they've obviously taken that sort of LA feel, the
If we had a Minister of Social Affairs,
yes,
he or she could ensure that no new bands are allowed to be named the same as old bands.
Yeah, well, that
and
stands
that would
to reason.
spare us
That's
this kind of confusion.
But that's not, because it's
three-line whip
Ravenettes or
on that one.
Ronettes. It's not the same, is it?
They were the Ravenettes, though. You said they were the Ravenettes.
They are the Ravenettes.
And there's
They're
a new
new.
band called the Ravenettes.
No, that is the new
Well, you
band
just
called the
said-
Ravenettes.
Well, that band that just played there, what were they?
The Ravenettes.
Well, how can the new band be called the Ravenettes? What are you
That
talking
is
about?
the new band called the Ravenettes.
That's not the new band, that's the old band, isn't it?
It's not, it's the new band.
Look, stop
Radio
it.
2.
Where music knowledge counts.
Okay, Armando, whose side are you on? Now, come on, whose side are you on?
The Clorettes. I like the,
Those
you got them.
breath-freshening mint music.
Fantastic.
All right, the thick of it is the new comedy starting on BBC 4 May the 19th, sorry, at 10:30. How many are there in the series?
We've done 3 and we're about to do another 3.
So there'll be 6 in this
eventually,
one.
and then they'll all go out on BBC 2.
So it'll be going out on BBC late in the year,
Yeah.
but if you want to be first on your block to know what's going
Yes.
on, which of course, that's a very American phrase, first on your block,
First
but
on the
if you want to know what's going on first, then tune into BBC 4, because I love BBC 4. I think they do, you find gems.
Curb Your Enthusiasm they have on BBC 4.
Excellent, but you'll find local stuff, you find documentaries about the oddest thing, and you think there's no way that should or could have got made anywhere else, and it's just a joy.
It's all in French for a start.
So presumably this is what you enjoy doing, isn't it? I mean, this is your forte, is coming up with an idea and seeing it through the scripting phase.
Yeah. And then once I've done it, I sort of then want to go on to do something that's the complete opposite of that. You know,
So you will
just
go
kind
from
of-
something which is, this is labour intensive, I guess, to go something, because you worked in advertising for a while, didn't you?
No.
I heard that you
No.
got offered a job. Didn't you get an advertising job, or you were snapped up by a company to be an advisor years ago?
No.
I saw this in a
I
magazine.
nearly made it into the Treasury. When I was 22, I sat the civil service exam because I didn't know what I wanted to do, and everyone, at university, they sit the civil service exam, and I thought I'd sit it just see what happens, and I nearly made it. I got to the final board.
Wow, so you could have had like a proper career.
I could have instituted the poll tax.
Wouldn't that have
that
been
could have been
something?
me?
Yeah. Would you be able to get your face on a stamp or something? Or no? Is that what they hope for in the Treasury?
Eventually.
Can I be on the coin instead of the portcullis?
People to lick my other side.
Wouldn't that
stick
make-
me in an envelope.
Oh, it's like having Julian Clary in the studio.
Do you know I once gave a talk to MI5 about comedy?
Hold on, you gave them a talking to? You talked...
Yeah, I got because MI5, because they're all a bit secretive, they socialise together.
Hold on. Because they're all a bit secretive. Well, of course they're a bit secretive.
So they all go on little museum trips together, out to the theatre,
Wearing
off to see
Macs
all of
and
that.
hats and glasses.
And they have these speaker meetings, and they said, we'd like you to come and talk about
Fabulous.
comedy. So I went along. I said, I'll play some clips. Have you got a video? And they did that on the phone. They did that kind of very kind of Ealing-esque kind of, video. I'm sure we can rustle something up and you arrive. And it's Judi Dench's M kind of huge, an enormous screen the size of a football pitch, and you don't touch any buttons. You just put your hand over them and just glide your hand over like
Fantastic.
and speakers come up and lights go down.
And you
stuff
press the
like
wrong button and suddenly you're looking at a shot from the inside of your front room.
That's right.
Where's that camera?
With my wife just tied up, and I started. I thought I'd start by saying, I'm going to talk about comedy, and then in the end, I'm afraid I'm going to have to kill you. And then we had the discussion, and at the end, the guy said, "Well, thank you very much, Mr. Ianucci, for coming along. Very interesting. And I'm afraid we are going to have to kill you."
Oh, you see?
So
he could do a bit of comedy himself.
Absolutely.
Even
Yeah,
MI5 have got an eye on a chance in the media.
But they had sort of MI5 parish notes before we started. They did a kind of, just to say before we start, the bring and buy sale that we had last week raised £400 for Great Ormond Street Hospital.
And the Czech dissident in the cellar has finally cracked.
and come up with £200. So,
So good luck to old Boris. What a fantastic thing to do there. It must have been exciting just to go in there
it
and
was
get
very
signed in.
interesting.
And
You're sort of weighed as you go in and weighed again as you leave.
you're weighed.
You're weighed. You go through. You sit in this sort of. You stand in this tubular glass podule that instantly takes your weight.
In case
So
you've hidden
so they
anything.
know whether you've either deposited something or rifled
like
something. If
What
you're a bit lighter as you leave.
But you see, if Tony Blair goes in, the amount he sweats, he probably comes
I know,
out 2
or if
pounds
you
less.
just
I would
go
have
to the
thought.
toilet,
Yes.
unless they monitor all that as
Maybe
well.
when you come in and you say, big jobs, they go, number 2 coming through, and they weigh that.
Do you think there's a guy in a nerve centre who's just piecing all this information together?
Even as we speak, this is being analysed.
Yes.
Because, when you left, 3 ounces are still not spoken for. I think he breathed in a bit too much. What a fight. Where is MI5? Where's it based?
It's at Millbank.
Okay, so...
Near Labour headquarters, actually.
I've seen photographs of it. It's a quite impressive modern building from the outside.
Oh, no, that's MI6. That's the big wonder one. The other MI5 is a sort of old building.
Do you think MI5 people are jealous of MI6?
I think they must have. Do you think they have football matches?
MI6?
Yeah.
MI6 are in the Bond movies, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, MI6, that's what you want.
That's you want. Yes,
So if you're
that's what you want. MI5, I think MI5 are internal, whereas
MI5 are the
MI6
sort of group you get into and then you think, I put the wrong number on the application form.
Yeah.
And you wind up in the... It's like League Division 2.
I thought these were the spies.
Yeah. It'd be great to be a spy, though, wouldn't it?
Instead, I'm just analysing body fluids of people who come and go through the building.
I can't help thinking that spying isn't what it used to be, though.
Yeah. They did look like civil servants, I have to say.
It's not as much fun. I mean, now, ever since the wall came down, all that, all that great stuff's over. all that fun, people being held against their will, it's all gone.
It was a riot, wasn't it?
Where's the fun now, eh? Where's the whimsy?
It was the swinging 60s. And
But it was great in a way.
Frightening 70s.
Just think of the movies we wouldn't have if there hadn't been all that going on.
The spy who didn't go out into the cold.
Remember that Bulgarian guy who got killed with the umbrella?
Oh, yeah.
Because that was, horrible for him.
Oh, well, they had the umbrella up in a display case as you went in.
I bet they did. What a brilliant thing. A lethal umbrella. It's like something from the Avengers. Now you don't hear about it. Just bloody planes going into the buildings. That's kind of like, let's face it, that's heavy-handed.
Yes. It's obvious, isn't it?
It's obvious and it's clumsy. We want a little bit of intrigue back, please. Pellets, that kind of thing. Armando's new show starts on this Thursday night. As I said, I really can't wait for it. I'm really looking forward to it. You're presumably you're quite pleased with it.
I think it's really good.
Okay, funny all the way through.
It is funny. Yeah.
Do we hear an audience laughing, or did you learn from the beating you got last time?
In fact, I took all the audience laughter out.
Yeah.
We played it into an audience.
The audience came in and you made them sign off and they wouldn't laugh.
Yeah.
Before you go, I'd like to chat a little bit more about Partridge because there's one great unanswered question I believe about the Partridge series.
Is there?
And I'll tell you while the record's on, so you can prepare your answer. What are we going to play?
Some Talking Heads. Is that okay?
I think that's fine with me. Talking Heads. You know what I was hoping we'd play maybe next week or the week after? Psycho Killer.
Remember I like that one.
Yes. Armando Ianucci is with us. I've already plugged his new series so many times it's almost become, I think, quite embarrassing. But it is BBC 4 this Thursday. Do watch it, the thick of it. It will be on BBC 2 later in the year. It's been described as Yes Minister meets Larry Sanders. If either of those shows rang your bell, then you will love this one. And if you liked Armando's previous shows, The Day to Day and I'm Alan Partridge, and also, did you do Mind Your Language? That was yours, wasn't it?
Mind Your Language?
Mind Your Language, the sitcom in the 70s with the...
No.
Wasn't that yours, Mind Your Language?
How dare you?
I thought, Love Thy Neighbour, that was yours. Was that yours? Anyway, you did some old stuff. On the buses.
What would it be like if they brought Love Thy Neighbour back?
It would be very different.
It would be.
a very, I imagine, a different sort of show.
Yeah.
I'd watch it. They should just do it with chavs living next door to someone. That's what they do now. They'd get away with it.
No audience laughter.
No, not at all. Very, very dark.
Yes.
Let's make it edgy. Before we go, though, or before you go, because we're here for hours, Alan Partridge, of course, a great creation, a great series. He often spoke on the show about his other work, which we never got to see. And one in particular, I think, intrigued most of the viewers you had. Skirmish.
Skirmish, yes.
Which was a military-based game show.
A military-based quiz show on UK Conquest.
Okay, which is I would probably watch. Because I find myself watching... the other night, I taped a show on the History Channel about secret planes the Japanese developed during World War II. Now, I don't know when I'll find the time to watch it, but it seemed like a great idea.
Have you ever watched Angling Outtakes?
I have not had that pleasure.
And it said in the listings featuring angling mishaps from recognisable fishermen.
Fantastic.
From recognisable...
But there were fishermen out there saying, what are you laughing at? That's a great show. I love the fact that you can find the oddest shows on there. There was a show a little while ago I found, which was Tim Brooke Taylor doing a round of golf.
Round of golf.
The dullest programme I've ever seen in my life, and apparently it was a series. Yeah. You'd have thought of the pilot stage might have nipped that in the bud.
We never said this, but we sort of imagined that Alan probably recorded, there was, over a period of 2 months every year, he recorded 220 episodes.
That's how my brother works.
And he died. He died at the end of it, but it paid for the rest of the year.
Exactly. So just a real slog you get through.
Yeah.
And this would be a panel show, do you think?
It's we thought we sort of imagined him and just members of the public, and we'd come up with the odd line like, Mary, you've deployed both missiles. This for the electric toaster. And things like that. We never quite got to grips with what the rules of the game would be.
I would like to see Skirmish.
Maybe we might construct.
So you might record
a one-off program.
That would be fabulous. A one-off edition of Skirmish, and it could be discovered like some forgotten tape in the BBC archives. Let's do it.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Over at Anglia.
I say let's as if I'm involved. But you do it.
Okay.
That would be a great thing. Armando Ianucci is just about to go, ladies and gentlemen. I'll remind you one more time, he has a new show, The Thick of It. It's going to be on BBC 4, then BBC 2. If you're a lover of British comedy, you would not want to miss that, I suspect. Armando, lovely to see you. Good luck with your grade 1 piano whenever you take it. And
I'll see you there.
You've
been grade
I will
one.
see you with my little folder lining up. No, I'm grade 1 level, but I haven't had the courage to take the exam yet.
Oh, I see.
Hey, let's do it together.
Yeah.
Armando's going now. What are we going to play?
Armando's got to do his message first for the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, hold in. This is quite a big responsibility.
Yes.
Oh gosh,
Before you go.
Yeah, this is the only reason I came in.
This is a message. This is a travel bulletin we have to give out, and we've given it to Armando to do because I think he sounds like the most grown-up member.
Right. This is for everyone on the M25 in Essex. It's blocked clockwise at junction 27, which is the M11 interchange, after an accident near the exit slip road.
You know what?
Delays from the Bell Common Tunnel.
If ever you want something to fall back on.
I know.
That sounded good.
It's easy.
The way you introduce it, though, if you don't mind one small bit of thinking,
Quibble.
sound a bit like a request. This is for everyone on the M25. I thought you were going to play him a record. All right? Yeah. So if you're on the M25 going to where? Junction 11?
And if you're blocked clockwise at junction 27.
Then do what? You know what? Yeah. We better get someone else to do it, because I think everyone thinks we made that up.
I think we're taking this as far as it can go.
Okay, yeah, we really have. Armando, lovely to see you again.
Pleasure.
Take care.